Good morning, girls. I hope you're all having a good Friday. So for today, as usual, you have the drill. If you haven't already taken it, please do so. It is posted as a Google form in your Google Classroom. The other thing we're going to be doing today is different from the mapping sheet, different from the assignment you had last week. We are going to actually be doing the next pasuk together. We're going to be reading it, translating it, doing the Rashi, and answering the question in your worksheet, just like we do in class, except we'll be doing it at home together. Hopefully you brought your materials home like I asked on Thursday. If you haven't, I am posting the page that the questions are on and from your little packet, and you can always fill it out and attach it later. But if you did bring your stuff home, it'll make it easier so you don't have to transfer information later. So let's get started. I will be showing you that I have a chumash with me, so I'll be showing you the psukim. But if you are able, please either have a chumash with you as well, or open up to the Merkava website. We are Parashat Kedoshim, Perek Yutet, and today we are going to be doing, I'm just looking at my chumash, Pasuk Lamed. Okay, so when you're on Merkava, you click on Vaikra. You're going to click on 19, that's the gematria for Yutet, and Pasuk Lamed, the gematria is 30. So you're going to find 30, and that's what we're at. So just so you see in your worksheet, the last thing we did together in school was the commandments about the way we treat our bodies with the shaving and the tattoos and all that stuff. And today we're going to be working on the next commandment, commandment 14, okay? And it says right here, fearing Hashem and his presence. So that's the page we are on. Let's get started. So I am going to flip my camera to show you the Chumash, and let's read the pasuk together. So we are on pasuk Lamed. I'm gonna read it and translate it with you. So, et shabtotai tishmoru, that you should recognize from the beginning of Parashat Kedoshim that we did together. Then we talked about keeping Shabbat, and here it is showing up again. Et shabtotai tishmoru, you shall guard or keep my Shabbat. Okay, next section of the pasuk. Umikdashi, and my mikdash, my Beit HaMikdash, tira'u, from the shoresh yara, yud resh aleph, which means to fear. And my mikdash, you shall fear. Ani Hashem, I am Hashem. So let's talk about, let's talk about this for a second. In this pasuk, we have three things that we have to talk about. The commandment of keeping Shabbat, that's showing up yet again, right? We already saw it in the beginning of this parasha. We have to talk about what does it mean to fear Hashem's Beit HaMikdash. And number three, why does the pasuk say here at the end, the camera just flipped on the ceiling. Why does it say again at the end of the pasuk, Ani Hashem? So the first question 8, that's what I'm reading. It says, give examples of fearing Hashem in the Beit HaMikdash. So as we just saw, the second half of the pasuk says that we need to fear Hashem's Beit HaMikdash. And at the end of the pasuk, it says, Ani Hashem. So one way to understand that is we need to have the fear of Hashem while we are in the Beit HaMikdash. And as we explained before, fear of Hashem doesn't mean like, ooh, I'm so scared, I'm terrified of what's going to happen to me. Fear of Hashem is from a way of respect, okay? A respectful fear. Just like our parents, it doesn't mean that we have to be scared of our parents. We have a respectful fear of them and awe of them. Like I see them in a certain respectful light, that I'm not going to speak to them like I speak to my friends. I'm not going to speak to them in a disrespectful way. I'm showing them a certain level of awe, of fear. So let's look at Rashi together for this worksheet. Let me flip the camera. We are going to be looking right here. This is the Rashi for Pasuk Lamed. And Rashi is giving us different examples of how we can practice this mitzvah, having a fear of Hashem inside the Beit HaMikdash. So you can see the Dibur HaMatchil u'mikdashei tira'u. Okay, that's straight from the Pasuk. So let's read it together. Lo ikanes. Okay, this is telling us you shall not enter the Beit HaMikdash. Lo b'maklo, not with your walking stick. Meaning, when you walk into the Beit HaMikdash, you don't just run in from the street, huffing and puffing with your walking stick still in hand. Walk in a respectful way. Uvemin alo, and do not walk in. Do you recognize a word in here? You should see something that looks similar to na'alaim, which means shoes. You shall not walk in with your shoes. The next one is uve afundato, which means with his money belt. Okay, people used to dress with, kind of belts around their waist and having all their stuff inside, their money belt. And this basically means don't walk in with your street things, your material things, your everyday things. When you walk into the Beit HaMikdash, you should look very presentable and respectful. Uve avak she'al raglav. Avak means dust, and with the dust of that's on your feet. So again, don't walk in dirty. Walk in looking respectful, clean, and ready to serve Hashem. So this kind of goes along with what we were saying in class about the way we look. This keeps going to the ceiling. This goes along with what we said in class about the way we look, the way we present ourselves affects the way that we act. So when we walk into the Beit HaMikdash, we want to walk in looking in a way that's going to help us act in a more respectful and holy way. So we're going to be clean. We're not going to be walking in with our street things. We're not going to be walking in with our money belt, thinking about our business or what I'm going to buy at the market. We're going to be taking off our shoes. Taking off shoes back in the day especially was a sign of respect. If you guys remember, when Moshe, for example, was at the burning bush, the first thing Hashem told him is, take off the shoes from your feet because you are standing on holy ground. So that was another sign of respect back in those days. So the general sense of I feel clean, I feel respectful, I am in the right mindset to serve Hashem, and it's representing by the way that I look. So let's answer the question. I'm going to bring you back to the worksheet. So we are on question 8a. Give examples of fearing Hashem in the Beit HaMikdash. So what examples did we give? We said, do not, and I'll move my hand in a second so you can see, don't walk in dirty with your staff, money belt, dusty feet. Walk in clean and presentable. Okay, so I'm gonna leave the camera here for a second so you guys can write it down. Don't walk in dirty with your staff. By staff, I mean like the walking stick from outside. Money belt, this little thing right here is the dollar sign. Money belt, dusty feet. You need to walk in clean and presentable. Okay, so hopefully you guys got that down. The next question on the worksheet, oh, sorry, I'm trying to hold the camera up because it keeps falling. The next question on the worksheet is, why is Shabbat mentioned in this pasuk? And this is exactly what Rashi wanted to know. So let's look at the Rashi again to get our answer. So Rashi is looking right here. So we stopped here. So I'm going to keep going. Ve'af al pi, and even though, she'ani mazhirchem al hamikdash, that I am warning you about the Beit HaMikdash, how you should be acting and looking when you come in the Beit HaMikdash, that you need to have a lot of respect and awe of the Beit HaMikdash. Et shabtotai tishmoru. I am reminding you that you have to keep my Shabbat. Okay, even though I just made a big deal about how holy the Beit HaMikdash is, I'm reminding you, Shabbat is the most important thing, even more important than the Beit HaMikdash. En binyan Beit HaMikdash, the building of the Beit HaMikdash, doche Shabbat, does not take precedence over Shabbat. You cannot say the Beit HaMikdash is so important that I am keep Shabbat and I'm going to be building the Beit HaMikdash. Even though I just listed so many important ways and so many important things that we need to do to show how holy the Beit HaMikdash is, do not think for a second that Shabbat is any less important. So I'm reminding you again, Shabbat comes first. Don't break my laws of Shabbat in order to do something for the Beit HaMikdash. So let's go back to the worksheet and answer the question. So, why is Shabbat mentioned in this pasuk? So let's write, because while the Beit HaMikdash is so holy and important, it does not mean you can break the laws of Shabbat to build it. Okay, so let me zoom in on this. While the Beit HaMikdash is so holy and important, it does not mean you can break the laws of Shabbat to build it. Shabbat always comes first. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about, the next question, is another commentary on this pasuk from another famous commentator named the Sforno. The Sforno was an Italian rabbi, Italian commentator, who gave us more explanations on the psukim in the Torah. So he looked at this pasuk and he said the following. At the time that he was alive, the Beit HaMikdash unfortunately was destroyed, just like in our time it's destroyed. It happened, he was alive after the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. He didn't live like that long ago, if you put it in perspective, a few hundred years ago. And he looked at this pasuk and he said, well, Hashem told us to be respectful and fearful in the Beit HaMikdash, but I don't have the Beit HaMikdash. How can I apply this rule to my life today? And he said there's a lot of places that replace the Beit HaMikdash today. For example, a shul, a Beit Knesset. So maybe it is not exactly the Beit HaMikdash. It serves the purpose of a Beit HaMikdash. That's where we gather to pray. That's where we gather as a group, as a Jewish people. And that was really the purpose of the Beit HaMikdash, right? To serve Hashem in one location as one united group. He also said, what about yeshivot or betei midrash, places of learning Torah? Those are also equal in importance to the Beit HaMikdash. So that's where Jewish people gather to serve Hashem by learning Torah. Well, what about Jewish schools, right? Same thing. When you have a bunch of Jewish kids sitting together learning, that is as holy as the Beit HaMikdash. So he teaches us, he says, all these laws that apply to how you should act respectfully and nicely in the Beit HaMikdash, they also apply to places that we have today that replace the Beit HaMikdash. So when you're in a shul, same rules apply. Look presentable, look clean. Don't walk in with your street clothes and your street mindset. Same thing about school, right? We're learning Torah together, so look presentable, act presentable, be the person that looks like they are serving Hashem in the holy place. And that's how we can apply it to our life today. Maybe nowadays, unfortunately, a lot of shuls are closed, but we can apply this to school. When we come to school every day, don't walk in looking like you just rolled out of bed. Look presentable, because the way you look affects the way you behave and the way you act and the way you learn. And God willing, really soon, shuls will be open again. So when you go to shul again, don't go with your street clothes. Go looking the way that makes you feel presentable and respectful and having the fear of Hashem. So let's answer that in the worksheet. Using the sfono, what else is included in the prohibition of umikdashai tirao? And how can we apply the sfono to our everyday life? So, according to him, included in this is having I'm going to say an awe, I like that word, an awe of shuls and places of learning Torah. How can we apply this to our everyday life? I'm going to say we can apply this by looking respectable at school and when we go to shul. And I will add, just to end our discussion, this also means other places. That's not just school and shul, but what if you go, for example, I just went to a bris. Someone had a baby, there was a bris. So there's a certain level of awe. You feel good, you feel better about you feel more holy, you feel like the context is so much more important when you dress respectably to those things. What about weddings, bar mitzvahs, even just meetings, anything, any place that you dress the part, you feel the part, okay? So you want to go to all these places in a way that represents how you want to act. And that's really the lesson that we're learning in here. So I will end off with this. Hopefully you have your worksheet, you filled it all out. You can show me in class on Monday. And in order for me to know that you actually did it at home, I am going to leave a little question on a Google Doc for you to fill out on the Google Classroom. Okay, guys, have a Shabbat Shalom, and I will see you next week.